Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's Prime Minister hits out at DMK party's double standards on Katchatheevu. External Affairs Minister slams opposition parties for the 1974 transfer of the island to Sri Lanka, says they gave away Indian fisher folks' rights. India's central bank, the R.B.I, turns 90. Prime Minister Narendra Modi attends celebrations in Mumbai, says the bank plays a pivotal role in advancing the country's growth trajectory. And Islamabad High Court suspends the 14-year sentences of former Prime Minister Imran Khan and his wife in the Toshakhana graft case, grants appeal of his conviction. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has hit out at Tamil Nadu's ruling party, the DMK, for failing to safeguard the interests of the state. The Prime Minister said that new details show the DMK's double standards on the Katchatheevu island issue. Prime Minister Modi posted on social media platform X, and I quote, "Rhetoric aside, DMK has done nothing to safeguard Tamil Nadu's interests. New details emerging on Katchatheevu have unmasked the DMK's double standards totally. Congress and DMK are family units. They only care that their own sons and daughters rise. They don't care for anyone else. Their callousness on Katchatheevu has harmed the interests of our poor fishermen and fisherwomen in particular," unquote. India's External Affairs Minister and BJP leader Subramaniam Jaishankar hit out at the Congress and the DMK for mishandling the Katchatheevu issue. Minister Jaishankar said that it is an issue that's been debated in the country's parliament and also in Tamil Nadu circles. He said that in the last 5 years, the Katchatheevu island and fisher folks issues have repeatedly been raised by various parties in parliament. He said that in the last 20 years, 6,184 Indian fisherfolk have been detained by Sri Lanka and 1,175 Indian fishing vessels were either seized, detained or apprehended by that country.
This is not an issue which has suddenly surfaced. This is a live issue. It is an issue which has been very much debated in Parliament, in Tamil Nadu circles as well. It has been the subject of correspondence between the union government and the state government. Now, every political party in Tamil Nadu has taken a position on this. Two parties, the Congress and the DMK, have approached this matter as though they have no responsibility for it.
Minister Jaishankar's remarks on Katchatheevu island drew a response from the Congress party. It said that the Indira Gandhi Sirimau Bandara Nayaki agreement was signed to save 600,000 Tamils at the time.
Government of India, headed by Mrs. Indira Gandhi ji, has signed an agreement called Indira Gandhi Sirimau Bandara Nayaka agreement. In that time, to save 6 lakh Tamils. To save them, in return, this 6 Katchatheevu islanders given by the government of India and to the Sri Lankan government. We are very clear that if fishermen are attacked and if our brothers and fishermen in Ramnath district are attacked, we will, India government, we will raise our voice to take back Katchatheevu.
All right, let's now get you the latest on the world's largest democratic election in India. The Election Commission has reprimanded Congress leader Supriya Srinath and BJP leader Dilip Ghosh. It said that the Commission will not tolerate such misconduct in future. The Commission advised them to adhere to the Model Code of Conduct. Tamil Nadu BJP President and Coimbatore candidate K. Annamalai held a roadshow ahead of the election. Karnataka Congress Chief and Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar campaigned for Soumya Reddy, the party's candidate from Bangalore South seat. BJP's Manifesto Committee, chaired by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, met at the party headquarters in New Delhi. Leaders such as Piyush Goyal and Ashwini Vaishnav attended the meeting. Former AAP lawmaker from Punjab's Patiala, Dharamveer Gandhi, on Monday joined the Congress party in the presence of senior party leaders. Dharamveer Gandhi is likely to contest from Patiala. In a press conference, BJP's candidate from New Delhi, Bansuri Swaraj, dismissed the rally held by the opposition alliance in New Delhi on Sunday as a flop show of corruption.
के रामलीला मैदान में हम सभी ने भ्रष्टाचार का एक फ्लॉप शो देखा। मुझे लगता है कोई भी शब्दकोश उठाकर देख लीजिएगा, रैली शब्द की परिभाषा में कल जो फ्लॉप शो इंडी अलायंस ने पेश करा वो कतई फिट नहीं बैठता। यहां तक कि मैं विपक्ष से निवेदन करूंगी कि अगर आपके पास नहीं है तो डिक्शनरी मैं भेज देती हूं। कम से कम रैली शब्द की परिभाषा तो देख लीजिए। रैली का अर्थ है बड़ी जनसभा।
The Central Election Committee of the Congress Party met in New Delhi on Monday. The meeting was attended by Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge, Congress Parliamentary Party Chairperson Sonia Gandhi and General Secretary K.C. Venugopal. Congress leaders from Andhra Pradesh and Telangana attended the meeting. More than 1 million advance applications from the age groups of 17 and above have been received by the Election Commission of India so that they can vote in the 2024 Indian general election. Participation of youth has seen a rise over the years. Here's a report.
इतना कुछ किस लिए?
Image building. What else?
पर वोट नहीं डाला आपने।
वोट क्या फायदा?
नेशन बिल्डिंग। और हाँ, इसमें इतना टाइम भी नहीं लगता।
ख्याल बदलेगा तभी तो देश बदलेगा।
Renowned actor Rajkumar Rao attempting to encourage young voters to perform the most important duty of a democratic nation, casting the vote in elections. Himself a young actor, Rajkumar took over as national icon for voter awareness and education for the Election Commission of India in October 2023. The video is part of Election Commission of India's campaign Mera Pehla Vote Desh Ke Liye, that is, my first vote for the nation.
Calling upon the 200 million voters in the age group of 18 to 29 years to vote and be part of the largest democratic exercise.
In April 2023, India surpassed China to become the most populous nation in the world. And this also brings into focus the immense demographic dividend that India is all set to reap. An overwhelming majority of India's 1.4 billion plus population is below 35 years of age. The same youthful energy will also reflect in this 2024 general polls too.
India has witnessed an increase of 6% in registered voters as compared to 2019, and the share of young voters can't be overlooked. Over 20 million young electors spanning the age groups between 18 to 19 years and 20 to 29 years have been added to the electoral rolls. As per ECI data, electors under the age group of 18 to 19 years are 18.5 million. The corresponding figure in 2019 was 15 million. Voters under the age groups of 20 to 29 years are 197.4 million.
To facilitate youth enrollment at the constituency level, Special Assistant Electoral Registration Officers or AROs were appointed for the registrations. Youth were enrolled directly from educational institutions, fostering greater civic engagement among the younger populace. The surge in numbers is also reflected in the Indian political matrix. Political parties in India have started focusing more on issues relevant to the youth, such as education, employment, and technology. The emergence of young leaders in politics has also inspired other young people to engage in the political process. When youth see themselves represented in political leadership positions, they are more likely to believe that their voices matter and that they can make a difference through electoral participation. While there has been progress in increasing youth participation in elections in India, continued efforts from political parties, civil society organizations, educational institutions, and the government are essential to sustain and enhance youth engagement in the democratic process. Bureau Report, DD India.
In other news, a court in India's capital remanded Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal in judicial custody until 15th April in connection with a money laundering case related to the Delhi liquor policy. Special CBI judge of the Rouse Avenue Court passed the order after Chief Minister Kejriwal was produced in court on the expiry of his ED custody. Earlier on 22nd of last month, the trial court remanded him in 6 days ED custody, which was extended further by 4 days. The AAP leader had skipped 9 summons issued to him by the ED. And still to come on DD India Live. The US and Israel to hold virtual talks on Rafah on Monday. India's Project Tiger, which was launched on 1st April 1973, makes significant strides in conservation. And India's top court refuses to stay a lower court order allowing prayers in a cellar of the Gyanvapi Mosque in Varanasi.
As the cycle of accountability returns, the time has come when the biggest democracy chooses to write another chapter in its glorious history. Development, justice, regionalism, a big political canvas. Everything will be put to test in this mega battle for glory. DD India dissects what makes elections 2024 the battle royale in Indian politics. Data and analysis free from bias to help you understand why India matters. The Great Indian Election on weekdays at 8:30 p.m. only on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. The Israeli army released a footage on Monday showing strikes on Hamas targets in Gaza. It said that its troops left the Al-Shifa hospital area after a 2-week-long operation during which they killed gunmen and seized weapons and intelligence documents. US and Israeli officials plan to hold a virtual meeting on Monday to discuss Rafah, a southern Gaza city. The two sides have stepped up negotiations mediated by Qatar and Egypt as ceasefire talks resumed in Cairo on Sunday. New Zealand Foreign Minister Winston Peters met his Egyptian counterpart Sameh al-Shukri during a visit to Cairo on Monday to discuss the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict. And DD India's Alex Cadier has more from Tel Aviv.
We've seen those images of the area around and the hospital itself absolutely devastated by 2 weeks of fighting between Israeli forces and Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Of course, the reaction in Israel has been broadly supportive of the IDF's actions. They see it as a necessary evil that their forces are fighting Hamas in the area of the Al-Shifa hospital, but a lot of criticism of that decision to return to the Al-Shifa hospital. Of course, the first time it was raided by Israeli forces was back in November. They then said that they had managed to rid the hospital of of all Hamas fighters, but now that they had returned, that's something that Hamas denies, but we have seen 2 weeks of brutal fighting, and the main buildings, the main surgery building, the intensive care unit of the hospital, as well as the emergency department, the general surgery department and orthopedics department buildings, all destroyed, and so it will be a long time before that a hospital can be operational again. Well, it will continue to increase the international pressure for a deal. There's no doubt about that. You cannot look at the footage of these destroyed hospital buildings and not feel like a ceasefire is now desperately needed, both to release those hostages and for humanitarian aid and medical aid to be able to enter Gaza. But it's very clear, at least from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at a press conference just yesterday, he said no international pressure would stop Israel from continuing with its military objective of completely destroying Hamas. That will make the negotiations particularly difficult. We know that one of the real sticking points has been Hamas's demand for a longer ceasefire and for the full withdrawal of Israeli troops from the Gaza Strip. And that, of course, is not something Israel can contend with. And their stated objective is the complete destruction of Hamas, the same group that they are negotiating these ceasefire talks with. So we know Israeli officials are in Cairo continuing these discussions, but still a very long road ahead before a deal can be reached. Simon.
In a major setback to President Recep Tayyip Erdogan of Turkey, the main opposition party has secured substantial victories in local elections, maintaining control over crucial cities. The results showcase the Republican People's Party retaining its grip on key urban areas. Its leader Ekrem İmamoğlu led by 10 percentage points in the mayoral race in Istanbul, the largest city in the country. His party retained Ankara and gained 15 other mayoral seats in cities nationwide, including Izmir and Bursa, Adana and the resort of Antalya. Ukraine on Monday said that Russia has used 5 hypersonic Zircon missiles to attack its capital Kyiv since the beginning of 2024. Kyiv's military administration claims that Russia has launched 180 missiles and drones towards the Ukrainian capital in the first 3 months of this year. President Vladimir Putin confirmed in his address on 29 February that Russia had used the Zircon missiles, which are a part of a new generation of unrivaled arms systems. There was no immediate response from Moscow. And in the latest on the Moscow concert hall massacre, sources say that Iran tipped Russia off about the possibility of a major terrorist attack near Moscow last month. The sources said that Tehran had shared information with Moscow about a possible terror attack inside Russia, and that the particular information was acquired during an interrogation of persons arrested in connection with Iran's twin bombing. But Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov on Monday denied that any Iranian warnings were provided to Moscow. Governor Wes Moore of the U.S. state of Maryland on Sunday urged Republican lawmakers to work together with their Democrat colleagues to approve the U.S. government funding needed for rebuilding the collapsed bridge in Baltimore and to get the port economy back on its feet. The Biden government released $60 million in initial emergency aid on 28th of March to assist in cleaning up debris and reopening of the port. U.S. government officials have told Maryland lawmakers that the final cost of rebuilding the bridge could soar to at least $2 billion. Meanwhile, efforts are on to clean up thousands of tons of steel debris from the collapsed bridge in Baltimore. Equipment being used includes 7 floating cranes, 10 tugboats, 9 barges, 8 salvage vessels and 5 Coast Guard boats. Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed on 26 March, killing 6 road workers when a container ship lost power and crashed into a support pylon. All right, shifting focus to the Indo-Pacific now. Taiwan's Navy chief is expected to visit the United States this week amidst China issuing threats to the island. Taiwan's Navy chief Tang Hua is expected to attend a military ceremony and discuss how to boost bilateral naval cooperation with the U.S. Last week, a U.S. lawmaker visited Taiwan and reiterated the importance of a continued strategic cooperation between the island and the United States. The United States is Taiwan's most important arms supplier and international supporter, despite the absence of formal diplomatic ties. DD India's Patrick Falk has more from Singapore.
The US and Taiwan were told that Tang Hua will be in Hawaii first, where he will visit the home of the US Indo-Pacific Command before heading on to a conference near Washington on sea, air and space. We're also told that the Taiwanese side is trying to tee up talks with the head of US naval operations, Lisa Franchetti. But beyond that, it's difficult to say what precisely is on the agenda. Both sides have tried to keep this visit relatively low profile, as is always the case when it comes to Taiwanese officials heading to the US. The Taiwan Navy and the Pentagon have both declined to comment further on what the visit is about. But sources have said that this is also partly about bolstering efforts under the island defense line concept, which is basically about bringing together Japan, the Philippines, Taiwan and Borneo to counter China, particularly as Beijing is becoming increasingly assertive in the Indo-Pacific. And that would make sense when you consider that there is also this trilateral summit that's due to take place in April between Japan and the Philippines and the US as well. So in terms of timing, this does seem to make sense and works along those lines. But as to how China's reacted to this, well, as you can imagine, China isn't happy and is opposed to any formal visits by Taiwanese officials, and the Foreign Ministry has said that it is opposed to military collusion of any kind when it comes to Taiwan and the US.
In a relief for jailed former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan and his wife, the Islamabad High Court on Monday granted him an appeal against his conviction for graft and suspended his 14-year jail sentence. Just a week ahead of the 8th February election, Imran Khan and his wife Bushra were both handed a 14-year sentence on charges of unlawfully selling state gifts. Khan remains in jail after multiple other sentences were imposed on the former cricket star ahead of the national elections, which also disqualified him from holding any public office for 10 years. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has announced that defence exports have crossed $2.5 billion for the first time in the country's history. Minister wrote on social media platform X, and I quote, "Indian defence exports have scaled to unprecedented heights and crossed 21,000 crore Indian rupee mark for the first time in the history of independent India. India's defence exports have reached to the level of 21,081 crore Indian rupee in the financial year 23-24, which is a spectacular growth of 32.5% over the previous fiscal." India's Project Tiger was established in response to an alarming decline in the population of tigers. Over the last 50 years, Project Tiger, which was launched on 1st April 1973, has achieved much success, making significant strides in tiger conservation. Akshay Dongre reports.
India is the home to the world's largest population of the magnificent tiger. According to estimates, the tiger population of India is over 3,500, which makes India home to over 70% of all the tiger population in the world. A major credit for this incredible feat also goes to a project launched 52 years back. The Government of India has launched Project Tiger on 1st April 1973 to promote conservation of the tiger and biodiversity. Project Tiger has been the largest species conservation initiative of its kind in the world. Over the past 50 years, Project Tiger has achieved commendable success, making significant strides in tiger conservation. Initially covering 9 tiger reserves, spanning around 18,000 square kilometers, the project has flourished into a remarkable accomplishment with 53 reserves spread across over 75,000 square kilometers, effectively covering 2.3% of India's total land area. Currently, the largest tiger population of 785 is in Madhya Pradesh, followed by Karnataka 563, Uttarakhand 560 and Maharashtra 444. The Government of India has taken several measures to save tigers under Project Tiger initiative. Measures taken under Project Tiger: protection of tiger habitats, anti-poaching measures, community involvement, monitoring and research, collaborations with other countries, implementation of laws and regulations. India has achieved several key outcomes by implementing Project Tiger. Increase in tiger population from an estimated 2,200 in 2018 to over 3,600 in 2024. Habitat conservation, ecological balance, community involvement. Continued efforts to protect tiger habitats and corridors are crucial for securing the future of India's tigers and their ecosystems for generations to come. Akshay Dongre reporting for DD India.
And now take a look at some other stories making news in India. India's Home Secretary Ajay Kumar Bhalla attended the 38th Raising Day of the Bureau of Civil Aviation Services in New Delhi on Monday. Secretary Bhalla warned of the security threats arising from new technologies in today's times. He also presented the badges and awards to officers in different categories. India's top court on Monday refused to stay an Allahabad High Court order allowing prayers in a cellar in a restricted area of the Gyanvapi Mosque in Varanasi. But the court ordered the Hindu and Muslim sides to maintain status quo on the premises to enable both communities to offer the Hindu and Islamic prayers. At least 5 people were killed and hundreds injured in India's West Bengal state after a cyclone hit Jalpaiguri. West Bengal Governor C.V. Ananda Bose on Monday visited the storm-hit region. He said that he had contacted the National Disaster Management Authority and other agencies involved in relief measures. In news from the world of sport, Mumbai Indians will face Rajasthan Royals at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai on Monday. Mumbai Indians has had a terrible start to its season under new captain Hardik Pandya. They lost to Gujarat Titans in its opening game by 6 runs in Ahmedabad. In its second encounter, it conceded a record 277 runs in 20 overs against Sunrisers Hyderabad before being restricted to 246 for 5 in Hyderabad. After 2 disappointing results, Mumbai will be playing in front of their home fans for the first time. It'll be interesting to see the reception Hardik gets at the ground, which is the home of Rohit Sharma, who the all-rounder replaced as MI skipper. Rajasthan Royals is 2 of the 3 unbeaten sides in IPL 2024 thus far. It started with a 20-run win against Lucknow Super Giants in Jaipur. In its second game, Sanju Samson and company got the better of Delhi Capitals in a tight affair. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. You can also check out our website ddindia.co.in. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Ramesh Ramachandran. From all of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.